Hey everybody, welcome back to another Casual Commander deck building stuff. We are here today for a particular reason. This idea came when I found out that there were three particular items or cards called Kaldra and Kaldra stuff, right? And then it all came forward to create a guy named Kaldra. And I thought to myself, like, hey, that sounds cool. You get the three weapons out, the three equipments out, and it summons Kaldra. I'm like, what can I do with that? And then I thought about Yu-Gi-Oh! And Yu-Gi-Oh! Has Exodia, right? You summon all pieces of Exodia, all five pieces, and it summons Exodia and you win, right? You don't really necessarily win when you summon him, but it creates a really strong dude. So I thought, oh, this is the equivalent of Exodia, kind of, because Magic doesn't really have a thing like that. So I'm like, let's build a deck around making Kaldra and getting him out there. And so that's what this is. It's Naya or red, green, and white, and it's all equipment stuff. So I had to think of what a good or fun commander would be, and I went with Marisi, Breaker of the Coil. 1 mana, a red, a green, and a white. Your opponents can't cast spells during combat, so that makes that great. Get stuff in there, swing it out. No funny business happening. And then whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, goad each creature that player controls. Basically, until your next turn, those creatures can't attack. Those creatures attack each combat if they are able, and attack a player other than you if able. And it's a 5/4. And this has been a real fun one. Yeah, I mostly got it for the colors, but then I'm like, oh, this other stuff will work great to help keep you alive. And let's jump into it. Let's get started here. So first we got Stone Skin. It's 2 mana and a white. It's an enchantment aura. It has flash, meaning it can cast at any time. You enchant a creature, and that enchanted creature gets +0/+10. That's just a little thing, help keep stuff stronger. Court of Ire, 3 mana and 2 red. When it enters the battlefield, you become the monarch. So the monarch is a little thing, and then at the end of your turn, you get to draw a card. It's fun. At the beginning of your upkeep, Court of Ire deals 2 damage to any target. If you're the monarch, it deals 7 damage instead. So that's just a nice little way to ping some people if they are getting annoying. Plains. Plains is great. Treasure Nabber. 2 mana and a red. Whenever an opponent taps an artifact for mana, so like Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, etc., you gain control of that artifact until the end of your next turn, and it's a 3/2. That's a good way to help you ramp if you don't have any other stuff going on here. Mox Opal, it's a 0 mana cost, and you can tap it to add 1 mana of any color, but you can only activate this if you control 3 or more artifacts. Since it's mostly an artifact deck, and it itself counts as an artifact, it works. Sword of Once and Future, 3 mana. Equipment, equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from blue and from black. Whenever a equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, is Surveil 2. Surveil is you look at the top of your library, and then you can either keep it on top or put it in the graveyard. Then you can cast an instant or sorcery spell with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. If that spell will be put into your graveyard, you exile it instead. Equip cost 2. Mostly I have this here because it gives a +2/+2 and protection from blue and black. But there are a couple spells in here you might be able to cast from the graveyard. Either you've cast it, or you look at your top of your deck and want to cast it again. Now, Helm of Kaldra, 3 mana. This is one of these things for that guy. So the equipped creature has First Strike, Trample, and Haste. And you can pay 1 mana. If you control equipment named Helm of Kaldra, Sword of Kaldra, and Shield of Kaldra, you put a 4/4 colorless avatar legend creature token named Kaldra into play. Attach those equipment to it. So you get all 3 of those equipment. You pay 1. You bring this guy out and equip all of them to him. Now I could not find an official Kaldra token, so this is a proxy custom thing, but it looks super cool. Yeah. And then I also got the shiny foil one of that because that's a great stuff. Jor Kadeen, the Prevailer. 3, a red and a white. It has first strike and has Metalcraft. Creatures you control get +3/+0 as long as you control 3 or more artifacts. And it's a 5/4. Cultivate, 2 and a green. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards. Reveal those cards, put 1 onto the battlefield tapped, and the other into your hand, and then shuffle your library. Command Tower, add 1 mana of any color in your color identity pool, red, white, or green. Forest. Path of Ancestry, when it enters the battlefield tapped, and you can tap it to add a mana of any color in your commander's color identity. When that mana is spent to cast a creature spell that shares a creature type with it, scry 1. I don't think there are many cats in here, and there might be a couple warriors. That was a slight oversight. Jor Kadeen's a warrior, so that will work. I don't know how many warriors are in here, but mostly it's for the tap a mana of any color. Fog. 1 green, no creatures deal damage in combat this turn. So that's a good way to save you. Forest. Skarg Guildmage, a red and a green. You can pay a red and a green, and creatures you control gain trample until end of turn. And you can pay 1 mana, a red and a green, and have target land you control become a 4/4 elemental creature until end of turn. It's still a land. It's a 2/2. Mountain. Reliquary Tower, no max hand size. Tap to add a colorless mana, or a mana of generic colorness. Reflecting Pool. Tap to add a mana pool of 1 mana of any type that a land you control could produce. So if I got a mountain, I control that, so this can also tap for a red. It's the way that works. Kodama's Reach, 2 and a green. It's pretty much the exact same thing as Cultivate, just a different name. 2 basic land cards, reveal them. 1 in the battlefield tap, the other in your hand, shuffle. The One Ring, 4 mana, indestructible, and when the One Ring enters the battlefield, if you cast it, you gain protection from everything until your next turn. At the beginning of your upkeep, you'll lose 1 life for each burden counter on the One Ring. You tap it to put a burden counter on the One Ring, and then you draw a card for each burden counter on the One Ring. Woodland Acolyte, 2 and a white for its human cleric. For when it enters the battlefield, you draw a card. It's a 2/2. Or you can pay a green for its instant adventure side to put a target permanent card from your graveyard on top of your library. I have this in there because you need some sort of recursion, and it's a cheap recursion. Mountain. The Grey Havens. When it enters the battlefield, scry 1. Tap to add a colorless, or tap to add a mana of any color among legendary creature cards in your graveyard. Svela the Ice Shaper, 1, a red and a green. You can pay 3. It's a warrior, so we already got some stuff going on there. That's good. Pay 3 and then tap it. You create a colorless snow artifact token named Icy Manolith with tap to add 1 mana of any color. So it is a mana rock generator, which is good. And then you can also pay 6, a red and a green, to tap it and look at the top 4 cards of your library. And you may cast a spell from among them without paying its mana cost. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. It's a 2/4. We got a couple big spells in here that make that worth it. And just some other ways, if you have nothing else in your hand to cast, get something out there. Burning Anger, 4 and a red. Enchant Creature. Enchanted creature has tap. This creature deals damage equal to its power to any target. With the amount of equipment that we have in this thing, some of those can get pretty tough. And if you need to get through someone's, say, propaganda or ghostly prison, you're like, oh, I can just, any target, hit you with 5 straight through without having to pay for it. It's awesome. Forge Anew, 2 and a white. When it enters the battlefield, return target equipment card from your graveyard to the battlefield. We need some more recursion. As long as it's your turn, you may activate equip abilities anytime you could cast an instant. And you may pay 0 mana rather than the equip cost for the first equip ability you activate during each of your turns. On Sarah's Wings, 3 and a white, you enchant a creature. It becomes legendary, gets +1/+1, has flying, vigilance, and lifelink. Good way to get some evasion on stuff. So when he's out, this is the cool thing, is whenever a creature you control. So it doesn't have to be him hitting people. You could have a 1/1 squirrel that you throw this on, giving it flying so it can get over stuff, hit it, and then all of a sudden that person cannot now attack you. It's great. Here's the second piece, Sword of Kaldra, 4 mana. Equipped creature gets +5/+5, and then whenever equipped creature deals damage to a creature, remove that creature from the game. So you basically exile it. Equip cost 4. So that would work great with, say, Burning Anger. If you need to remove a blocker, just be like, oh, I tap you. Bam. Free exile. Plains. This, I believe, is a game changer, so be aware. It's Enlightened Tutor, 1 white mana. You search your library for an artifact or an enchantment card and reveal that card to all players. Shuffle your library and put the revealed card back on top of it. Best time to do this is at the end of the opponent's turn that goes right before you do, in case there's any like weird shuffle effects or anything like that. Reinforced Ronin, 1 red. It has haste, and it's a 2/2. At the beginning of your end step, return Reinforced Ronin to its owner's hand. You can also pay 1 and a red to discard it to draw a card. And a Plains. In case you guys know, so I got Mega Man sleeves, right? Got a little Mega Man thing. Because before I heard the term Voltron deck, which is like, you got one dude and then you just attach a bunch of stuff to that one dude, like Voltron does. I thought of this more as like a Mega Man thing, right? Where you got your dude and then you switch out equipments and rotate powers and stuff like that. So that I made this my Mega Man deck as opposed to a Voltron deck. But it's pretty much the same thing. And here's the last piece, Shield of Kaldra. It's 4 mana. Equipment named Sword of Kaldra, Shield of Kaldra, and Helm of Kaldra are indestructible. And the equipped creature is indestructible, and it costs 4 mana to equip. So let's take a quick look at these 3. I'll pull these all out here for a second, just to show you what everything looks like. All right. All right, so you got a 4/4 creature. You attach the sword. Now all of a sudden, it's a 9/9 creature with exile whatever creature it deals damage to. Then you got the shield, which now makes it indestructible. So it's a 9/9 indestructible. And then you equip the helmet, and now it's first strike, trample, haste, indestructible, 9/9. Like, it's good stuff. Like it is. I've gotten this guy out twice. It's hard to do because I had tutors to help look for the cards, and I got some card draw stuff, so it's hard to get them all together. But when you do get them all together and you do summon him, it's an epic moment. Like, it's great. It's a lot of fun because you're just like, bam, hit you with a super awesome dude, and they're all shiny, and they're all special. They all make me happy. But yeah, that's the whole point of the deck. That's the goal, to get him out. Much like my Power Rangers vehicle deck is to get all the Power Rangers out, summon the Megazord, and then you win. Not officially win, but you win. It's your own win con. And for this deck, the win con is to get Kaldra on the field. And if you can do that, that is a moral victory and an ethical victory. Not a technical victory, but still a victory. Arasta of the Endless Web, 2 mana and 2 green. It has reach, And whenever an opponent casts an instant or sorcery spell, create a 1/2 green spider creature token with reach. It's a 3/5. I got that one in there because your opponents like to cast a lot of spells, and it's good to get yourself out some blockers in case you don't have your guy out that can, make them attack each other instead of you. Chromatic Lantern, 3 mana. Lands you control have tap. Add 1 mana of any color. And this itself can also tap for 1 mana of any color. I usually include a Chromatic Lantern in decks of 3 different mana colors and above. You don't really need it for 2, but once you hit 3 and above, it starts to get a little bit harder with the mana fixing and the lands. So it's a good way to help mitigate that. Sword of Feast and Famine, awesome sword, 3 mana. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from black and green. When equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, they discard a card and you untap all your lands. 2 mana equip cost. That's why that one's so great. It gives you basically a second beginning main phase. Gruul Turf comes into play tapped. When it comes into play, you return a land you control to its owner's hand, but you can tap it for a green and a red. Eerie Interference, 2 and a white. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to you and creatures you control this turn by creatures. Hero's Heirloom, 2 mana. Equipped creature gets +2/+1, and as long as equipped creature is legendary, it has Trample and Haste, and it's 2 mana to equip. We got Chandra, Awakened Inferno in here. This spell can't be countered. You +2 it. Each opponent gets an emblem at the beginning of your upkeep. This emblem deals 1 damage to you. You can -3, and Chandra Awakened deals 3 damage to each non-elemental creature. And you can -X for X deals X damage to X target creature or planeswalker. If a permanent dealt damage this way would die, exile instead, and it has a loyalty count of 6. I think I put this one in here basically as a means of getting some other damage and other removal on stuff. But the emblem that just hits them for 1 is also pretty great. If you are looking at taking things in and out, that's probably one that you would take out. It doesn't really synergize with the deck. I just had it and threw it in there because. Planes. Rayov, Mastersmith, a red and a white. Whenever a creature you control that's enchanted or equips attacks, that creature gains double strike until end of turn. It's a 2/2. Bladehold War Whip, 1 a red and a white. For Mirrodin. Now, it doesn't say on here, but for Mirrodin is you create a 2/2 rebel, a red rebel creature token. Equip this to it. But we also have equip abilities you activate of other equipment cost, 1 less to activate. And then the equipped creature has double strike. The equip cost is 3, a red and a white. That's a heavy equip cost. That's why we got the Forge Anew to help make that a lot cheaper. Taiga taps for a red or a green. It's a mountain forest. It's a dual land. It's expensive. That's why I have a proxy instead of the real one, because that's $800. I'm not paying for 1 single card. That's insane. Forest. Stoneforge Mystic, 1 and a white. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for an equipment card. Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. An equipment like Shield of Kaldra. And then you can pay 1 and a white to tap it and put an equipment card from your hand onto the battlefield. That's great for the Kaldra stuff because the Kaldras are more expensive. They usually have a 4 mana cost for equipping. So you save yourself 2 mana. It's a good run. Power Balance. You pay 2 red, and then whenever an opponent casts a spell, you may reveal the top card of your library. If you do, you may cast that card without paying its mana cost if the 2 spells have the same mana value. So if you got yourself a Kaldra, Sword of Kaldra at the top, someone plays a 4-mana spell, you can get that for free. Excellent way to cheat out equipment. Sword of Fire and Ice, 3 mana. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from red and blue. When equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, Sword of Fire and Ice deals 2 damage to any target, and you draw a card. Equip cost 2. Invigorating Hot Spring, 1, a red and green. It enters with 4+1/+1 counters on it. Modified creatures you control have haste. So modified is anything with an equipment, an aura, or a counter that counts as modifications. And then you can remove a +1/+1 counter from this and put it on a creature you control. Activate only as a sorcery and only once. Each turn, sorry. Sword of War and Peace, 3 mana. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from red and white. Whenever it deals damage to a player, you deal damage to that player equal to the number of cards in their hand, and you gain 1 life equal to the number of cards in your hand. And its equip cost 2. Aggravated Assault, 2 and a red. 3 mana and 2 red, and then you can untap all creatures you control. After this main phase, there is an additional combat phase, followed by an additional main phase. Activate only as a sorcery. So if you had, say, Sword of Feast and Famine, you pay the 5 mana to activate this. Attack. Sword does damage. Untap. Pay it again. Attack. Sword untaps lands. Pay it again. Attack. So you can get some pretty much infinite combats as long as you hit. If you can hit a player and untap, then you can keep going with that. That's a decent combo. I wouldn't recommend doing it as much in a casual game, unless it's later on and you want to end it. Then you're like, okay, I can end it by doing this, and they'll be like, all right, fine, whatever. Boros Garrison. It enters tapped. When it enters, return a land you control to its owner's hand, and then you can tap it for a red and a white. Kellen the Fey-Blooded, 2 and a red. Its creature aspect is Double Strike. And then other creatures you control get +1/+0 for each aura and equipment attached to Kellen Fey-Blooded. It's a 2/2. Or you can do a sorcery adventure for 1 and a white and search your library for an aura or equipment card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle. Silver Knight, 2 white. First Strike, protection from red. It's a 2/2. We like our pro stuff. Mountain. Naya Charm, 1 red, green, and a white. And then you choose one of these abilities. Naya Charm deals 3 damage to target creature. Return target creature from graveyard to its owner's hand. And tap all creatures target player controls. So if you need to get a creature back from your graveyard, that's really good. Or if you need to get rid of their blockers so you can hit and cause them to goad, then you can tap all of their players. So it's just like, it's beautiful stuff. It all comes together. Mountain. Soul Ring, 1 mana, taps, 2 colorless. Collective Effort, 1 and 2 white. It has an escalate effect, meaning you can tap an untapped creature you control, and you can pay this cost for each mode chosen beyond the first. And there are 3 modes. First mode is destroy target creature with power 4 or greater. Second is destroy target enchantment. And third is put a +1/+1 counter on each creature target player controls. Beautiful. Buffs your guys. Destroy stuff. We love it. Sword of Sinew and Steel, 3 mana. Equip cost is 2, but equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from black and red. When equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, destroy up to 1 target artifact and 1 target planeswalker. We like stuff that gives us good value, multiple effects for one thing. We have another Kellen, Planar Trailblazer, 1 red. You can pay 1 and a red. If he is a scout, it becomes a human fairy detective and gains. Whenever Kellen deals combat damage to a player, exile top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. Not particularly a fan of that part myself, because the exiling stuff, and then you may not be able to play it, kind of ruins some potential victories there. But it's the second part. He starts out as a fairy scout. So you pay 2 and a red. If Kellen is a detective, it becomes a 3/2 human fairy rogue and gains double strike. So it's a cheap thing to get out soon, and then you can play around with him to make him a double striker. That's mostly the reason when he's in there. He's in there because he's a 1 cost. He can gain double strike. But he's also one that if you wanted to swap stuff out, you could. I made this deck a long time ago. And it's probably due for an update, I'd say. So there's probably, 2 or 3 cards already that I'm already looking at swapping out. Anya, Merciless Angel, 3 a red and a white. When she's flying, and she gets +3/+3 for each opponent whose life total is less than half his or her starting life total. And as long as an opponent's life total is less than half his or her starting life total, she's indestructible. And she's a 4/4. So if you got anybody that is in Commander, it's 40 total life. So once they hit 19, she becomes a 7/7 flying indestructible for 5 mana. Like that's pretty good. And it's flying. We want evasion. Sword of Hearth and Home, 3 mana. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from green and white. And then whenever equipped creature deals damage to a player, you exile up to 1 target creature you own, then search your library for a basic land. Put both of them into play under your control, and then shuffle, equip cost 2. I don't think I have too many ETBs or enter the battlefield effects. So that one, a little iffy, but the +2/+2, pro green and white, and look for a land is also still really good. Rowan, one of my favorite planeswalkers, Fearless Spark Mage, 3 and 2 red. +1 to have up to 1 target creature get +3/+0 and gain first strike until end of turn. -2, she deals 1 damage to each of up to 2 target creatures. Those creatures can't block this turn, which if you need to get through for Marisi. And -9, gain control of all creatures until end of turn, untap them, then gain haste until the end of turn. Loyalty 5. I've yet to get off her ultimate, but I've done the first one a couple of times and the first 2 a couple of times, and it works. It helps. It's good stuff. Savannah, another dual land, tap for a green and a white. Also super expensive, so we proxied it out. Sword of Body and Mind, 3 mana. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from green and blue. When equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you create a 2/2 green wolf creature token, and they mill 10 cards. Equip cost 2. Sword of Light and Shadow, 3 mana. Equip gets +2/+2, protection from white and black, and then when it deals damage to a player, you gain 3 life, and then return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Equip cost 2. Seagarda's Aid, 1 white. You may cast aura and equipment spells as though they had flash. And then, whenever an equipment enters the battlefield under your control, you may attach it to target creature you control. So you got some good sneaky stuff you can do there. You have this out there, you attack with a creature, they're like, oh, this person's got nothing. And then you're like, oh, wait a second. Flash this in and equip to that creature for free. Now all of a sudden, it's got protection. From a bunch of stuff. Good way to do some combat tricks and be sneaky. And there's nothing they can do about it if you have your commander out, because they can't cast spells during combat. Mirren Crusader, 1 and 2 white. Double strike, protection from black and green, and Zatuju. Awesome card. We got him in here because he's got a lot of stuff on it for real cheap, and then you throw some swords on it. It's a beautiful guy. It's a beautiful dude. Nahiri, the Lithomancer, 3 and 2 white. +2 to create a 1/1 white core soldier creature token, and you may attach an equipment you control to it. Free way to attach an equipment. -2 to put an equipment card from your hand or graveyard onto the battlefield. And then -10, you create a colorless equipment artifact token named Stoneforge Blade.
It has indestructible. Equipped creature gets +5/+5 and has double strike, and equip cost 0. She can be your commander. Loyalty cost of 3. I'm sure you can already see some of the good stuff that it does right there. Selesnya Sanctuary. Enters tapped. When it comes in, return a land you control to your hand. Taps for green and a white. Forest. Flare of Fortitude, 2 and 2 white. You may sacrifice a non-token white creature rather than pay this spell's mana cost. So you can either pay the 4 mana, or you can sacrifice, Silver Knight or Mirren Crusader there, and cast it for free. Until end of turn, your life total can't change, and permanents you control gain hexproof and indestructible. So yeah, you got to sacrifice, a tough creature like Mirren Crusader, but you save your life, you save your commander, or any other artifacts that they might be trying to get rid of. Blood Knight, 2 red. First strike, protection from white. It's a 2/2. Now you have to have a couple bombs in your deck, and this is one of them. I got Zakama, Primal Calamity. 6 mana, a red, a green, and a white. It has Vigilance, Reach, and Trample. And when it enters the battlefield, if you cast it, you untap all lands you control. So basically, you got 9 mana, you tap all 9 lands. Oh, look, you get your lands free. It's beautiful. And then it's got some payable effects. You can pay 2 and a red to have 3 damage dealt to a target creature. You can pay 2 and a green to destroy a target artifact or enchantment. And you can pay 2 and a white to gain 3 life. And it's a 9/9. That's a big scary boy. We like him. He does good work here. Mary, Warden of Isengard. 1, a green, and a white. Partner with Pippin, Warden of Isengard. He's not in this deck. Whenever 1 or more artifacts enter the battlefield under your control, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token with lifelink. Only triggers once each turn. And it's a 1/4. Bronze Guardian, 4 and a white. Double strike, ward 2, meaning you need to pay 2 additional mana in order to target. Other artifacts you control have ward 2, so this is a great way to protect your swords because they're going to want to blow them up. And then the Bronze Guardian's power is equal to the number of artifacts you control. So it's a star 5. So it's a 1, 2, 3, 5. There you go, with double strike. It's a good one. Roiling Vortex, 1 and a red. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, Roiling Vortex deals 1 damage to him. I guess I have this with the Chandra, so if you got multiple emblems that ping them for 1, you did an additional 1, I guess. Whenever a player casts a spell, if no mana was spent to cast that spell, Vortex deals 5 damage to that player. So this will hurt us a little bit with 1 or 2 things that we have to let us cast a spell, but we do have some other stuff that says just put it out there, so not as bad. But there are becoming more and more decks where people are casting stuff for free, and that's a good way to help punish them a little bit. Also, pay a red, and your opponents can't gain life this turn. So if you got some other life gain decks out there, that can stop it. So it's just a little utility, to help you manage some of the decks out there that people run. Mountain. Moonshaker Cavalry. This is the Behemoth. Earthshaker Behemoth? Something. I can't remember. It's Behemoth. 5 mana and 3 white. Flying. And when Moonshaker Cavalry enters the battlefield, creatures you control gain flying. And get +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of creatures you control. It's a 6/6. Great way to give some stuff evasion, to get around to dealing combat damage, to goad them so they don't attack you when they attack each other. Darksteel Citadel, indestructible, artifact land, taps for colorless. Just helps add to the artifact toll for some of these things. Mountain. There are colored artifact lands that would probably be better now that I think about it. Well, it's fine. Burnout, 1 and a red. Counter target interrupt spell if it is blue. And draw a card at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep. So it's a red counter spell, just for some of them blue suckers out there. And card draw. Segovian Angel, 1 white mana, flying and vigilance. It's a 1/1. Throw some swords on her, and she's a boss. Plateau. It's a mountain plains. Taps for red or white. Danitha, Benalia's Hope. 4 and a white. First strike, vigilance, lifelink. When she enters, you may put an aura or an equipment card from your hand on or graveyard onto the battlefield attached to Danitha. She's a 4/4. Kit Kanto, Mayhem Diva. 1 mana, red, green, and white. When she enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 green and white citizen creature token. At the beginning of combat on each player's turn, you may tap 2 untapped creatures you control. When you do, target creature that player controls gets +2/+2, gains trample until end of turn, goad that creature. It's a 3/3. So she's kind of a backup for Marisi. If you can't, get all of the creatures, but you need to stop one really big scary one, they'll be like, oh, you're instead of coming at me with your Blightsteel Colossus, it's now goaded. You have to attack somebody else. Kaldra completes. You can't have the Kaldra without the whole complete. Yeah. It's a 7 mana cost, so it's a big one. It has Living Weapon, meaning it's very similar to 4 Mirrodin. So you create a 0/0 Germ token, attach this to it. This is indestructible. And the equipped creature gets +5/+5, has First Strike, Trample, Indestructible, Haste, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a creature, exile that creature. Equip cost 7. So we got some stuff to help cheat it out there a bit, because that is a hefty thing to do if you lose your Germ. Arcane Signet, 2 mana, taps for a mana of your commander's color identity. Kind of out on space here a bit. I think we can get a couple more on this bottom row here. King Darien, I want to say 33rd. That might also be 53rd or 63rd. I can't remember what those bigger Roman numerals are. Yeah. Anywho, a colorless or any mana, a green and a white. Other creatures you control get +1/+1. 3 mana, a green and a white. Put a +1/+1 counter on King Darien and create a 1/1 white soldier creature token. Then you can sacrifice him and have creature tokens you control gain hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. It's a 2/3. So if you got a couple of these things out there, it's a good way to help keep your board state alive should there be a board wipe. Sigiled Sword of Valoron, 3 mana. Equipped creature gets +2/+0 and has vigilance, and is a knight in addition to its other types. And whenever it attacks, you create a 2/2 white knight creature token with vigilance that's attacking. Equip cost 3. The cool thing about that secondary thing is if they have something like Propaganda, where you have to pay mana to attack them, this bypasses that because it comes in attacking. Keywords are important. Remember that, folks. Myriad Landscape enters tapped, taps for colorless, and you can pay 2 mana and tap it to sack it. Search your library for 2 basic land cards that share a land type, so it has to be 2 forests, 2 plains, or 2 mountains. Put them onto battlefield tapped, and then shuffle. It's a good ramp card. Plains, plains, plains. Brunner, Battlehammer, 2, a red and a white. Each creature you control gets +2/+0 for each equipment attached to it. You may pay 0 rather than pay the equip cost for the first equip ability you activate each turn. He's a 5/3. Forest. Predator Ooze, 3 green mana. It has indestructible. Whenever it attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on it. And whenever a creature dealt damage by Predator Ooze dies this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on it. It's a 1/1. It's just a fun creature that gets stronger every time it does stuff. So it's a good way to get through things because people are like, I don't want my, it's now a 5/5. If I could block it, but I don't want to block it. It's a die. It gets bigger. Deafening Clarion. 1, a red, and a white. You can choose one effect or both. Deafening Clarion deals 3 damage to each creature, and creatures you control gain lifelink until end of turn. So if you need a small creature board wipe, that's a great thing. Or if you need to gain a crap ton of life and you swing out with everything you got, that works as well. So yeah, there you have it. There's some casual stuff. It's got one potential infinite combat loop, but contingent on the fact that you have to hit in order to untap mana in order to keep activating it. But other than that, pretty casual, pretty chill, and doing its thing. The best thing that you can get out here is to get some 1/1s, swing out and make them basically fight each other while you kind of protect yourself in a way. It's been great. I've played this a couple times. It's always done real well. Always a fun thing going on. But there are looking to be about 2 to 4 cards in here that I could probably swap out for some better stuff, because now with this past couple of sets, they've thrown out some really good equipment, especially in the Final Fantasy. So throwing in some more Final Fantasy stuff in here could be really cool. And yeah, like I said, if you can get Kaldra out, that's the point of the deck. You have a victory to yourself. It's like, I did the thing, and then you can die happy. At least I would. I wouldn't recommend dying if you can help it. Stay alive as long as you can. Life's great. Eat more pizza. Anyway, hope you like it. Look at a couple fun pieces you have. You know, again, keep it simple, keep it fun, keep it light, keep it casual. And yeah, thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you guys later. Peace.